Hi, good evening, Chicago, and thank you for joining us with CANTV and Uniting America. My name is Brittany DiPiazza, and I'm a Uniting America Fellow here with the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. I'm joined with my colleague, Luis Ramon, and he's also a Uniting America Fellow. Hey, Luis, how are you doing?
I'm well, Brittany. I'm just enjoying this wonderful weather we had today.
I know, it's been great. I've got my sunglasses. I'm ready to enjoy some nice warm weather. I'm a native Floridian, so I'm really enjoying this warm spell we've been having.
And I'm from California, so this is great. So I was able to pull out my glasses out today and actually sport them out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Luis, can you tell me a little bit more about Uniting America?
Yes, of course. So Uniting America is a project of the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. So what Uniting America does is we place fellows throughout the state to work on issues of integrating their immigrants with their neighbor Illinoisans. So currently we have 10 fellows placed throughout the state working on different projects. So for example, I'm placed at Lambda Legal, and I'm working with the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community and making sure that they're integrated with the immigrant community. So what were you up to this weekend, Brittany? I heard you were really busy.
I was super busy this past week. The Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights, we had our annual policy symposium last week. It was a 3-day event that took place at the Chicago Cultural Center. It covered a range of topics such as healthcare, parent mentors, comprehensive immigration reform, welcoming cities, and the economy. On Wednesday, we had our kickoff event with our keynote speaker, John Rowe, the CEO Emeritus of Exelon Corporation, and he talked about the economy and the role that immigrants play in our recovery. And it was a really wonderful event. On Saturday, we actually had our Illinois Immigrant Integration Summit at Malcolm X College, and it was a really wonderful event. Mayor Rahm Emanuel received the Emma Lazarus Award in honor of immigrant integration.
Yes, Rahm Emanuel was one of the first mayors to start a Office of New Americans. And what the Office of New American does is basically help streamline all the citywide institutions to making sure that immigrants have access to them. So thank you. Congratulations again, Mayor Rahm Emanuel, for receiving this award.
Yes, thank you so much for all of your hard work and dedication on integrating immigrants to the Chicago community.
So what was your favorite part of the symposium and summit, Brittany?
I really enjoyed the welcoming cities part. That was actually at both events. At the policy symposium on Thursday, we talked about welcoming cities, and it was a really wonderful thing. We had Adolfo from the mayor's office, and he talked about the New Americans plan and kind of laid out all of the points that they're going to be going over to try to make immigrants more welcome in the city and make it a more inclusive community.
Cool.
So what did you think of the events?
Well, I got to spend time with you.
Yes.
So that was my favorite part. And wearing these amazing polos from Uniting America.
We do look great, don't we?
I hopefully it doesn't make me look too big.
No, it makes you look great. Red's your color.
All right, thank you. But what I really enjoyed was actually being part of the policy symposiums. I participated in the healthcare symposium, and during the healthcare symposium, we talked about the new changes coming with healthcare reform that passed a few years ago under President Obama. And so, as you know, for those who don't know, healthcare is a very big issue for the LGBT community and also for the immigrant community. So it's important for me to be aware of all the things happening that's affecting the communities that I'm serving.
It sounds like you had a really great time, Luis.
Yeah, I know. So, Brittany, Valentines is coming up tomorrow.
It is?
Yeah, what are you, and I heard you're married, so what are you and your husband doing?
We're just going to have a low-key Valentine's Day, just take a break from all the hectic bustle of everyday life and enjoy the relaxing evening.
Lovely.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm having a date with Rocky Road Ice Cream and eating my feelings away on Single Awareness Day.
Oh, well, I'll be joining you with eating some ice cream.
Good. I hope you enjoy Rocky Road.
Oh, thank you. You too, Luis.
Thanks.
Well, in honor of Valentine's Day, we wanted to talk about loved ones and family stories. Specifically, we wanted to talk about some of the work that Uniting America is doing on family stories with immigrants and how they play out when they come to the United States.
Yeah, and so today joining us a very special guest, Marco Castro-Bojorquez, who is with Lambda Legal, and he'll be sharing with us some of his immigrant and family experiences.
Marco is a filmmaker, educator, youth advocate, and community organizer who strives to create powerful solidarity among people. Born and raised on the Mexican Pacific coast, Marco left his country for political reasons and has lived in California for the past 20 years. His short documentary, Tres Gotas de Agua, premiered at Frameline 35 San Francisco International LGBT Film Festival. He is currently directing and producing El Canto del Colibri, a short documentary film exploring the voices of Latino fathers addressing LGBT issues. Marco serves as a community educator for Lambda Legal, the oldest and largest national legal organization committed to achieving full recognition of the civil rights of lesbians, gay men, bisexuals, transgender people, and people with HIV.
Hi, Marco. Are you there?
Yes. Hi, Luis. Hi, Brittany.
Hi, Marco.
Good to be with you.
Thank you for joining us.
So, Marco, so I know you, as Brittany mentioned, we're talking about families on since it's Valentine's Day. What kind of experience do you have working with families?
Well, I have been working for many, many years with youth specifically, and I have always had, with joy, have to work with their families, right? As an immigrant myself, and being separated from my family for so many years, almost for about 10 years, for me it was really important to integrate with the people that I was working with, the family setting or just family values. So my experience, I've worked a lot with queer youth or LGBT youth, and a lot of the times I have learned that it has been really great to be able to integrate their lives or their family lives into our work.
That's great, Marco. Thank you so much for sharing. So, doing this work that you do with a lot of different types of families, what are some of the most pressing issues that affect these families you work with?
Yeah, it really depends. My work has been focusing specifically working with LGBT youth of color and or poor youth. And so the socioeconomic aspects of their lives really impact the different aspects that I had to deal with in the past. A lot of that has to do with the many struggles that our families of color have to deal with. Right now, I think an issue that I struggle a lot at seeing the families that I work with is with deportations. I find that being a super difficult issue for me to deal with, as deportations really rip families apart and have a really negative impact in all communities, right? All families that are affected and all communities that are affected, and especially children that live in constant fear of being separated from their families, or also, children that start dislocating or dissociating with their immigrant heritage because of the pressures of this aspect of deportations. So that will be one of the aspects that I think right now are one of the most pressing issues that I'm dealing with.
And Marco, what are some of the services or some of the things that these families that you're working with who are being affected by these things? What are some of the things that they need, or things that they may need?
Yeah. It's a good question, Luis. The first thing that those families need is for the general public to stop the negative rhetoric against them. They have to deal with so many pressures at home and at school, and then at the moment that you turn on TV or that you go online on social media, you hear hateful comments about them, and they're just here to do whatever else or whomever else is doing, which is trying to live their lives, right? So the very first thing that people should do is just stop hating, stop the hateful rhetoric against those families that are struggling. And I would really appreciate for people to engage. The immigration issue is not only about Latinos, and so there is a lot of other communities affected by these issues. and families that are dissolved because of immigration policies. So I would say engage with people to get to know them, go to have dinner at their homes, try to become true friends, so you can really start taking down those barriers that they are there because of ignorance.
Yeah.
Those sound like some really great ideas. Have you seen any impact from the DACA work, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals? Has that impacted any of the families that you work with?
Yes, in sometimes in positive ways and sometimes in negative ways. I feel that there is definitely the political landscape had put the undocumented students at a national level, and so families are hopeful, at least parents are hopeful, that their children may be able to have a chance in their country, but it's not enough, as the families are made of the children and their parents, right? So what we really need is actually to have a comprehensive immigration reform where everybody that is in this country and that has not have the opportunity to get their documentation or proper documentation have a pathway to citizenship, so we can all have the same rights that everybody deserves.
If anyone, any in the audience have any questions for Marco, please feel free to call us. The number is 312-738-1060. Again, that's 312-738-1060. And so, Marco, I understand that you said you yourself as an immigrant, you came to the United States. What were some of the things that you looked for to make you feel part of this of the community that you're a part of?
It was a difficult time, Luis, because I came here kind of running away from difficult experiences in my country. So I wasn't really planning to come to the U.S. I was just fresh out of college. And so for me, it was about trying to integrate into society as somebody who contributes. And I think that most people that come to this country do that. I remember I was living in San Francisco, and my first job was a volunteer job working with CANTV, a project that it was serving people that had that were impacted with HIV, and at the time, AIDS and HIV infections were a lot more traumatic and impactful than right now. So I really, although I was new in this country, for me, just to be integrated into the everyday life, going to school and starting to work and, making friends as my family were far away from me, that was an important part of my process. But it took me several years for me to feel somehow part of this society. And even now, there are times when after almost 20 years of being here, again, when I hear some of the things that I hear on the media, it makes me really wonder if I'm really part of the society or not.
And Marcos, I know that you worked on a short documentary, Tres Gotas de Agua, and you're currently working on another one. And I've seen Tres Gotas de Agua, and it's really about families, and specifically about moms and their relationship with their LGBT children. What motivated you to really share this story?
Well, I was working with an organization that I was advising in the Bay Area, and it's called Somos Familia. And they are a group of volunteer moms that were basically trying to support monolingual families in the Bay Area, mostly in the East Bay, in Oakland. And so we wanted to be able to build bridges and really promote the creation of media that it was culturally relevant to our community, right? Because most of the time, the media that the families that are affected by these issues watch are completely with people that look and sound and probably live differently than them. So we wanted to include some media that it was about Latinos, for Latinos. The whole crew and the cast spoke Spanish throughout the production, and the film was filmed in Spanish and with English subtitles. So it was a very amazing experience. And now with El Canto del Colibrí, what we're trying to do is to take on what parents, males, now think about their relationship with their LGBT children.
And what was the reaction, at least from immigrant families, listening or watching Tres Gotas de Agua in Spanish?
It was very positive. The film is a very simple, educational-like film that has taken a life of its own. We premiere in a very full theater in San Francisco, and people were very touched by, because the content and what these women are talking about had a lot of pride and a lot of traits of unconditional love for their children. And I think that everybody can relate to that. So the film became popular in the Bay Area and later on traveled around different film festivals. It was very popular in Brazil, and it motivated for a campaign that it was about coming out in Brazil. And it premiered also, was shown in different film festivals in Italy. And so I believe that we accomplished what we were trying to do, which was we wanted for people to start talking about these issues around the table, and for families to start really, engaging, and for children and our parents to stop living in silence, right? So it has been very positive, and we hope that El Canto del Colibrí would also support the progress of our community by listening to the points of view of Latino immigrant parents or fathers.
Yeah, and I have Tres Gotas de Agua, so if maybe we can have a screening here in Chicago, and hopefully you can join us, Marco, to making sure that people in Chicago as well have get to watch it and learn from it as well.
I would love to. And Tres Gotas de Agua is also online. If you go to YouTube, you can just search Tres Gotas de Agua, and you will see it there. It's 14 minutes, so you feel free to use it. If you're a teacher, if you're a parent, if you're a social organizer or community organizer, the film is done especially for you to use it. And so we hope that, when are you inviting me to Chicago, Luis?
We can talk about that afterwards, Marco. So
Okay.
I think we have enough time for one last question, and if any audience wants to call in, again, the number is 312-738-1060.
So, Marco, I know you mentioned earlier about making sure that everyone feels like they're a part of their community. What are some suggestions you have for people to make everyone feel more included and try to build those bridges with immigrants in the community?
More than anything, I think that we need to take a stand on understanding that all families, as they get better and they have better services and they become to shine, the whole society is going to be benefited by that. So I feel that it will be good for people to start being more proactive at reaching out to communities, volunteering in organizations, writing letters when there is somebody. For example, when people are going to be deported, calling and writing to those politicians really help. And just supporting your local community, right? I think that we all are part of a community that we identify with, whichever that may be. Try to do something for that, because at doing that, you're basically doing something for yourself.
Yeah,
Great.
awesome. And Marco, if people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way to contact you?
People can contact me via email. My email is marco@yahoo.com. They can also go to lambdalegal.org and find the information. I am based in Los Angeles, and I cover about 11 states in the Western region. And so they can also just go to Facebook and type my name, and I'm sure they're going to find me there.
Great. Thank you so much, Marco, for joining us. It's been a really great talk.
Thank you, Marco. I hope to we'll keep in touch with you.
And have a great Valentine's Day.
Yes, have a good time with your partner.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Thank
Marco.
you.
Bye. How did you enjoy Marco's conversation, Brittany?
I thought it was really great and informative. I'm really looking forward to checking out his film on YouTube.
Yeah, cool. And if not, I have a copy of it, so you can stop by my office and get the CD of it.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. So if anyone has any stories to share about their families, please again feel free to call us 312-738-1060. This is a space for you all to share your stories, and we're more than happy to hear them out. Brittany, do you have any stories about your family and Valentine's Day or love stories?
Well, I do now live in Chicago, and my family lives in Florida, so it is difficult to be away from your family for such a long time. So I can definitely relate to that, but not anywhere near as bad as 10 years, so I can't even imagine what that would be like. So that must be really difficult.
Yeah, the same here. I know when I was born in Mexico, and while I was in Mexico with my mom and my other siblings, my dad was actually in the United States, and so he was working to making sure that we had food back at home. So it wasn't until we immigrated when I was 4 years old that I was able to kind of reunite with my dad. So it was a little bit difficult at first, not knowing who this person was, but knowing that he was my father. And so we've definitely made up for the lost time. And so now I'm in Chicago and he's in LA, so just like you, my family's far away. So hopefully we get to go home soon and make up for the lost time.
And wear our sunglasses. Absolutely.
Right.
Well, thank you for sharing your story, Luis. It was beautiful and moving.
Anytime, Brittany, we can have a conversation about that later. So if anyone has any time to call us, again, the number is 312-738-1060. But if not, there's also many opportunities for you to join us. We have different events hosted by the Uniting American Fellows. And so some of the events that we are planning out for are... So as a fellow working with Lambda Legal and working with the LGBT community, I'm organizing a series of creative writing workshops for LGBTQ youth. And the workshop is titled Crossing Borders, Desires in Chicago Streets. And the youth are actually going to be writing their own immigration stories, whatever those stories may be like. And at the end of our workshop, at the end of the class, we'll be having a community event where the students will be reading their presentations. Also coming up on February 20th at the University of Chicago from 6 to 8 p.m., we have Undocu Art, the intersections between the immigrant LGBT community and the role that art has played in building bridges between both communities. And also on February 21st, Lambda Legal is organizing a community reception at the National Museum of Mexican Art. So please come join us. There'll be food and drinks and a lot of people to connect and mingle with and building those bridges and building community, as Marco said earlier.
On February 23rd, we have a Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, also known as DACA workshop, taking place in Elgin at the Elgin Community College. If you would like to receive assistance in filling out your DACA application at this workshop, you need to register beforehand at dreamrelief.org/Feb23 Elgin. And this is a great opportunity for other people to get involved. We also have another event coming up at the Field Museum, a viewing of Everglades of the North, and that is taking place on February 26th. And we have a documentary coming up on The Other Side of Immigration on February 27th as well. February 28th, we have an Engaging Families in Multilingual and Multicultural event taking place at National Louis Museum. And on March 9th, we have another deferred action going on with the Episcopal Diocese of Chicago.
Brittany, so thank you so much for joining CANTV today. I was glad that we got partnered up.
Absolutely. This has been a blast. It's been wonderful speaking with you and Marco and learning more about families and love stories.
Yeah, and please follow us on, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for more information on the upcoming Uniting America events.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Have a great evening, Chicago.
Thank you.